Let's do it.
Let's get it. Hemali, welcome to the pod.
Hi.
How does it feel?
Feels great.
Yeah, the voice is still gone, but we move and we'll discuss it anyway. But obviously, photo shoot happened. Let's talk about pre-shoot, the 24 hours before. How did that feel? And then post as well, because obviously there's this like anticipation, probably anxiousness as well towards it. How does it feel like now as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think pre-shoot, I actually like, even though I've seen so many people go through their photo shoot, spoken to people in the community, until you're there, you don't know what it's gonna actually be like, right? And I think I went into it thinking, you know what, this is another day, right? I've accomplished this, but like, let's just go into it like any regular day. And right when I walked in, just as my energy is, I came in dancing with my music, knew like, okay, this is the vibe I want to bring. This is what I've worked towards. This is like my fitness family. And so, I mean, just from that moment on, it was just like, let's do this. Let's go outside. Let's take a picture. Let's do this. I never felt like I was like some like person that I'm not. It's like, I felt so comfortable. Like I've known you guys forever. And even everyone that came from the community that wanted to be at my shoot, it was like, dude, are we friends for like 20 years of our lives? Like, let's do this and like, let's celebrate this together. Because it's not just about me, but it's the love that everyone has brought here. And so for me, more than like the physical, it was about the love that we share together. So.
Yeah, I don't disagree as well, because obviously people know you. Obviously you do consults as well, so people have seen you from there as well. So like, oh shit, it's Hemali as well. But let's obviously go way back. You know, before I guess even the photo shoot getting started with us, what was the why initially? What was the trigger to be like, you know what, I want to do something? And obviously you had a consult with George over here. So yeah, let's dive deep into that.
So I've always been into fitness, but I think just an ideal thing of like, I wanted to like have abs, right? And I thought equating like having a good body, growing muscle mass was like, I've been undermined my whole life, right? Being an occupational therapist for, 7.5 years of my life and being this petite, people don't think you can lift somebody, in my profession. Walk into a room, it's like, do you have an assistant that's gonna help you lift this patient? And so for me, getting into fitness and growing and becoming bigger was like, I'll have like more of an authority, like when I go in and step into a room. And I think what's really happened is I've switched roles professionally into sales, but what I do feel is like my confidence level from where it was has like skyrocketed from where it was. So my deepest why is like being known for not just like being someone small, but being that petite powerhouse that I always talk about.
Was that the trigger then to sign up during that time period? Was it April 23?
Yeah, so I had made a transition a year into sales after being an occupational therapist. And to be honest, I was like, I never want to feel that again. I want my numbers to talk. I want my physique to talk if I do sales in person.
Love that. I want to go back to what you just said about fitness family. I quite like that. Instead of like KMAK community, fitness family is quite a nice way of putting it. What impact has it had, and kind of what support have you had from the community? Obviously you're well known and so on. So what kind of stuff has helped you throughout your journey?
Yeah, genuinely just like, I find that when you want to make a friend, right? Like you go up to someone, you get to know them. This was like, everyone is virtual. Like everyone in the community is like, okay, I live in Texas, I live in Dallas, but I'm talking to someone in the UK, right? And not just the team, I'm talking about, you guys have clients in the UK and I'm talking to them. And it's like, oh my gosh, you've been with KMAK for like 4 years. You already have an incredible physique, but like, why are you still working with Kanal, or why are you working with George, or whoever it is in the team? And it's that love. I'm gonna go back to that probably a lot in this podcast, is because what do humans want, right? We wanna be loved and we wanna share that love. And that's the greatest feeling. And so I think what I found in this community is like, people see you, people share about each other's journeys. We don't wanna like beat someone. We wanna be on that level and bring each other to the next level, and onwards, that we don't even know exists until our coach is like, dude, you're capable of this. And so I think the support that I've had is when people see me hit like a new PR, or like I post something and it's relatable, they're like, I can't believe what you wrote today really touched me. I was feeling it this morning. And it's those little comments that are like, you're not alone. There's so many people. This entire community is on this same journey as you and feeling the same things. Despite this distance, you feel so close to them.
What would your advice be to someone that wants to speak to people within the community, but they're a bit shy, a bit awkward? Like, should they just drop a message in Instagram or Facebook? Like, what would your advice be?
Yeah, totally. I think I tell this all the time, like even in my consults, or even if someone DMs me and I'm like, oh, you're so similar to so and so, let me get you in a group chat. And I tell this all the time because we're all so similar. If you talk to anyone in the world, there's always going to be like one thing one commonality, right? So when someone tells me like, oh, I'm a mom of 2 kids, I'm like, dude, this person in our community, lives right next to you, 10 miles away. Go for a walk with them, call them. Every single person I've talked to in this community has that same level of love and acceptance of being like, let me help someone. And if anyone's been in the journey, whether it's, 2 weeks into the journey or a year, 2 years, they have the same sentiment about you guys. And I think that's one of the things I love most about each of you is that there's no one person or one client that is above someone else. Doesn't matter if you're richer, poorer, what your profession is. If I come to you and my friend came up to you, you would treat them the same exact way, despite you knowing me for like a year and them, you just met them.
For sure.
Yeah, that's the aim of the game, isn't it? Like for us, people. And we enjoy community, we all enjoy connection. I think it's obviously in the world now where it's all virtual, connection can get lost. And I think creating that connection virtually is still really, really cool as well. I want to go obviously way back. I know you said you've always been into fitness as well. What were you always doing with fitness? Has it always been resistance training? Has it always been, potentially cardio? Is it Pilates? Is it like classes? Would love to dive deep into that like historical kind of fitness journey.
Yeah, so I used to do like beach body workouts, like 21-day fix. But I really like dialed into nutrition because I was generally lean. I thought like, oh yeah, if I work out a lot, my physique will still change. I'll be fine. And I think dialing into nutrition and learning how easy it is with you guys, I think that for me was like a big game changer. I did like lifting, but definitely the amount that I've learned here at KMAK Fitness, like I didn't know how to do deadlifts. As confident as I was with certain exercises, there were exercises I came into that you assigned to me and I was like, I've never done this. Let me try it with this barbell versus what he told me to do. And I did that for the first couple of weeks. I wasn't a perfect client. Like I can openly admit that, but you were super patient with me to be like, Hemali, you'll cap out if you do this, try this. Even if your gym's busy, try it out with what I'm recommending for you. And I'm so glad you gave me that push because when I did online classes like Beachbody and stuff, I didn't necessarily have a coach. With having you as my coach and telling me like I could do this, you're gonna get it. Like it was that added accountability and someone really believing that like you're gonna get this, you're gonna be great at this.
Yeah, it's quite powerful as well. I mean, let's dive deep into obviously the element of South Asian women, weight training. It's quite rare in our community, and then eventually, it's quite empowering as you found it for yourself as well. And also, there's preconception of like, again, it's from social media potentially, which is I'm going to be too bulky, and I may even get injured, etc. How have you found the journey with obviously us guys with weight training? Because I know people have seen your pull-ups, with CPRs, etc. So I'd love to dive deep into that. And what advice would you give someone right now who may be new to and have just signed up, for example, and they listen to your podcast, and they may be scared about weight training?
Yeah. I mean, I 100% love weight training. So obviously I'm a big advocate for it because growing up being petite as well, whether it was like being in sports, lifting weights, like throughout my journey, even pre-KMAK, I've never been bulky, right? Like I've never, despite how much I've lifted, now I lift way more than I ever have before. And I'm definitely not bulky. Like if anyone sees my physique, they're like, dude, you look like you play XYZ sports. You look like a runner. You look like XYZ. So no one's ever told me like, dang, you look too big. People are like, I want your body, like I want that. And the other part is like, I think for me, like the reason why I tell women to like weight train is like, if you actually want to change your physique, like dialing into your nutrition and lifting weight is going to actually help you drop that weight and get what you want, right? If you're doing things that are the same that have never worked, they're going to continue not working. You're going to exert all this energy towards something that is not going to give you, the confidence, the build, whatever that you're looking for. And so I will tell you, like, I've ate more carbs in this program than probably ever before. And people are like, how are you eating that? Even some of the guys in this program, they're like, dude, you're eating more carbs than me right now. And I'm like,
It's
yeah,
only
dude.
the beginning as well, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, dude, the carbs and like eating certain things before my workout has really pushed my energy to like perform even better in the gym. So yeah, eat more, build more.
You speak a lot about like love and positivity, which, you know, I'm a big fan of that as well.
Big energy guy.
Do you have anything on the flip side where you have like negative family members or friends or colleagues where like, hey, you've gone too far in this journey, you're obsessed? Do you get any of that kind of pushback?
Yeah, I mean, I think from a couple of people, like I've gone on trips, you know, even with friends, and I'm very much like, I don't want to miss a workout, which I've kind of like eased to some degree. But because I love training so much, I remember like I would get done with like, you know, a spiritual retreat at the end of the night. It's really, really late. But for me, working out just gave me like that positive like endorphins and all of that. So it's like, even if it was 2 a.m, sometimes I just really wanted to get my workout in. And my friends are like, we're ready to go to sleep. Like, what are you doing working out, you know? And for me, like my discipline and who I am and what I want to achieve, like I was like, this is who I am, you know? And I think being confident in who you are, even if you're early on in your journey, the people who are going to gravitate towards you, the people you want to keep around, they're going to stick with you. And that's the most important thing. If someone's not ready to support you, I'm sorry to say they're not your friend. A real friend is going to support you no matter what you do, whether it's fitness, a business, whatever it is. They're going to be your ride or die.
What would you say someone though, not to play devil's advocate, but I guess I will, is let's say someone right now is listening to this and they're like, I just don't want to cut my friends out because 4 of them are not supportive, because we've had that before, right? Like it's hard to just be like, all right, bye. I'm never going to talk to you again because I'm in a fitness journey. What advice would you give someone who's in that position right now?
Yeah, I don't think you have to necessarily cut someone out either, right? Like I have friends that are not into fitness or some that have been in KMAK, and I'll say like, hey, like this is something that's important to me, but like, you know, let's find a middle ground of like what we want to do, right? It's not like you want to cut someone out just because they've been a friend for like 20 years. You don't necessarily ever have to be the same as someone else to be supportive. So find that commonality, you know, that we were talking about earlier, because your friendship with them is beyond just fitness, right? If you see the good qualities in them that you want in your life, then yeah, let's find that. If they want to have a party, maybe like you do bring your food or you eat before and like you have some tea or some coffee, or maybe you balance it out with the plate and you have a 1 plate, like, you know, we use our 1 plate rule with them. Like you can be apart as much as you want. And I think even as a client of KMAK, like I've realized like I have a choice on how much I want to spend time with someone. Maybe I don't want to go to all 10 events of theirs, but maybe I'll attend 5, you know? So you can find that balance even in your friendships.
Yeah, it's creating the balance. Once you create the balance and you understand like yin and yang, it becomes a lot easier as well. I mean, obviously people are seeing this now, like post photo shoot and listening to this when you're like on a high. Let's talk about some of the challenges you've also had during this process as well, because obviously there's going to be challenges which people may have not seen, but it'd be good to discuss that.
Yeah, so sleep for one. I know you guys know this because I talk to you guys and it's like, oh, what? How is she up right now? But yeah, sleep. I always have high energy. And I think sleep is something that like now I'm like, okay, maybe I need to get the whoop. Maybe I need to get the ring. I need to do this. And I do feel like I sleep more than I did before KMAK. So as crazy as that might seem. But I was working 2 jobs, right? Like I was working my regular job that was 8 to 10 hours. I was doing your consults at least 3 to 5 hours in the evening. So being someone that was working almost 15 hours a day, like that's a lot of time out of 24 hours, right? And then getting a training session in between my 2 jobs. So yeah, I think working on sleep was like, okay, if I can maximize on like eating at this time before my consults, like then I'm not going to be trying to eat at like 11 p.m. after a consult. Or just even like drinking water. I would say my two biggest problems were probably trying to get enough water in and sleeping. With the water, definitely getting more water bottles and just having it ready to go the night before has been a game changer. In the last couple of months, I've definitely improved from where I first started.
Love that, love that. I want to dive into nutrition a little bit more. Obviously, a lot of our clients are either vegetarian, they're vegan. How do you kind of hit your protein targets? What tips and tricks would you give to a vegetarian out there thinking they can't hit their targets?
Yeah, totally. I'm going to talk about ice cream too in this because we all know I eat ice cream like every day. So I think the biggest thing, like the balance that we talk about is like, I remember like 3 weeks into the journey because I'm such a type A person. I was like, Kunal, I'm going to eat a chocolate chip cookie or ice cream or some sort of chocolate in this journey. Like, I don't care, because if I do this every day in the program, I know it's going to be sustainable when I leave KMAK, right? So for me, like doing that daily was like, yeah, I'm going to post my ice cream because I want all my friends, you know, not just like the KMAK community, but like my friends that I've known since like childhood. I want them to see, like when they see my body, like 4 months down the line,
Made by
6
ice cream,
months,
right?
like, dang, this girl, she ate freaking ice cream and she like ate it, right? And even friends that came over, I'm like, yo, let's order Pizza Hut. Like, let's eat together. Let me show you that I'm eating these things and have the balance, right? And I'm confident because my coach has taught me this. So yeah, with the balance of food as a vegetarian, like I don't even eat eggs. So for me, like knowing even when I was eating out was like, let me drink a protein shake, right? Knowing that I'm gonna be a little bit fuller before I go out to eat, I can master 1 plate rule. If I am gonna eat a little bit more, it's okay. I could bank my calories during the week a little bit. I personally fast every Thursday, so it kind of worked to my strengths. But if you're not someone that fasts even, like it's easily, you could bank your calories Monday through Friday to be able to eat a larger meal on the weekend, right? To stay consistent. I think as a vegetarian, the options I had, I would say like I've done like tofu salads, I've done cottage cheese salads, I've done cottage cheese toast. I love bread. I'm a big carb girl. So to be honest, they're endless. You guys have like over 250 recipes on the app, the website. You guys are coming up with a recipe book.
Hopefully by the time this is out, you'll have it.
So I'm hoping you guys have a signing. You guys should totally have an event with your recipe book and get Archana and the girls to sign it. I think it would be great. But yeah, I think in general as a vegetarian, like I've seen so many of the community people, like because I love ice cream, they've bought a Ninja Creamy in this journey, and they're like, Hemali, like share a recipe with me. And you can get protein in that way. Like it's not gonna be the same as maybe eating like rice or bread or getting that type of energy. But like, yeah, enjoy the process too. You can have that balance and still have amazing gains on this journey.
Yeah, I don't disagree as well. I think it's what do we always say? Like if you say no to socials, you can fire us, right? And yeah, it's like if you want to have the balance, if you want to have ice cream or you want to have something else, include it in there as well. Obviously, being a vegetarian, doesn't eat eggs. Did you have any preconceived like limitations you had? You were like, I'm a vegetarian, I don't eat eggs. Like, you know, fitness is not really for me. I don't think I can do this. Like even before, but like even before starting here as well, like a couple of weeks, you know, when you had a consult with George.
Yeah, totally. To be honest, like when I saw the KMAK Fitness page and I was like, okay, like how are all these people like super fit, right? Like I was like, and I'm reading like these people are vegetarian. I'm like, most of your clients, or like at least half of your clients, 60%. If not more, yeah, are vegetarian. I was like, how are these people doing it, right? And the first thought obviously is like, okay, Indian food has a lot of carbs. Oh, this has, you know, everything I'm eating. I like bread. I like X, Y, Z. How are people hitting these targets? But as soon as I did the program and like you told me about like edamame spaghetti, I was like, dude, the first 2 weeks I was eating so much. I was like, this is a deficit. I'm eating more than I ever have in my life. And I think I had like an embarrassing story I told you in my first check-in. I fell asleep eating my dinner once, you know? And I was like, dang, dude, I fell asleep on my carpet. Like, and so it's funny because I think not just myself, people come into this thinking like, I'm going to be starving myself to get this physique. I'm not going to be eating, or like, I have to give up pasta or bread or this. I've literally ate all the things that I ate before the program, but it was understanding like what portion was appropriate for my size to achieve this body. And so it's literally like, if you join KMAK, it's like, you're going to get to eat all the things that you want. You're going to understand like what's an actual protein source that's really going to help you to get to your goal, and like enjoy it, like flavor it the way you want it. Like what I like, I know I like desserts more than you, right? 100% hands down.
Before back in there, I didn't.
Yeah.
Before I loved it, yeah.
But it's like, I'm going to do that for myself, and I can be that and still achieve incredible results. You can do it your way and still get incredible results. And I like that, like it's so personalized to the person, this program. Like you can be who you want, eat what you want, live the lifestyle you want, and still get this.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'd love to go back to like the vegetarian, let's say not recipes, but like what are some of your go-tos that someone out there like may not even think about? Obviously you mentioned tofu, Greek yogurts, etc. What other ones are there for you where you're like, this is like unbelievable? Obviously edamame you spoke about as well.
I had a pizza recipe that I literally did for like over a month because I love pizza, which is why post-shoot, that's what I've been eating. But I got a protein crust off of Amazon, and I literally mixed cottage cheese with like pasta sauce. I added like oregano, Italian seasoning, garlic powder, and a pizza seasoning. Added cheese on top, and literally all the veggies I wanted. I ate that for dinner, like, kid you not, for a month. And I was like, this is great. And that was when I achieved my abs, you know? I was like, people are like, oh, you're getting like leaner, you're looking better, like, I can see definition in your arms. I'm like, and they're like, what are you eating? Literally, I'm eating pizza for dinner. And they're like, stop. I started snapping pictures to my friends and like, this is what I'm eating for dinner. So
obviously we spoke about nutrition and we've touched on training a little bit. How do you fit everything in one day? You're working 15, 16 hours, you've got to train, you've got a meal prep, step count. What's kind of your go-to tips and tricks for someone
And
like
you
that?
don't rush training either, like, sorry to cut.
That's right.
no, I don't. Because I love, like, that's like my me time, right? Since I'm working, like when I go to the gym, that's like, I love music. So this is like my focus. Honestly, like I wake up in the morning, sales for me, like when I have a 10-hour day, it definitely starts at like 7 in the morning. So get up, I'm very spiritual, do my prayers, meditate, do my thing, and then start my day. With working from home, I don't have a walking pad. A lot of my friends do. But for me, it was just like walking in my actual apartment. Like getting more mindful really is like what this program has taught me, where I was sitting for like 8 to 10 hours and then watching Netflix at the end of the day and being the lazy girl. It was like, now it's like, okay, how am I gonna be efficient with my time? Being busier actually helped me become efficient, to be honest.
That's a good point.
Right? So yeah, like during my workday, if I had a call, I'm on my headset, it's like, can I walk and talk while taking a call when I'm not on an actual video call? And then during my lunch breaks, I'm like, can I spend the 30 minutes like eating for 15 minutes, using the other 15 minutes just like walk on a treadmill, walk outside, get some fresh air, and actually being re-energized for the second half of my day, right? So I think sometimes we make it more complicated when it's actually pretty simple. I talk to a lot of people who are doctors in this program actually, and they're like, dude, how am I gonna get my steps? I sit and I document on 10 patients at a time. I'm like, dude, I used to be a therapist. I used to see 10 patients, treat them, and then sit to document. What I've like learned is if I had to go back to that profession, it would be like every 2 hours before seeing like a patient, like set a little timer. Let's go for a 5-minute walk. No one in healthcare is gonna be like, hey, where's that doctor walking to, right? Like someone's gonna think you're walking to a patient. You could do a lap around your like floor, right? So I think it's just finding the things that work for you, and it doesn't need to all necessarily be a 30-minute block. It could be 5 minutes in your day and maximize on that, right? So keep it simple. Like I think, you know, with my meals, the program itself, I always tell people, you don't have to be extravagant to get into the best physique if you keep things simple. Walking a couple of minutes extra here and there, you know, doing a simple snack like rice cake and peanut butter. Like if you don't have time to make a meal and you're a busy person, if you don't have the finances to do like a meal service, then keep it simple. A toast, pop in a toast, slap on some cottage cheese, add some hot sauce, put a salad pack on if you don't want to cut something up. If you're that lazy, I got your like lazy girl recipes. Like DM me, I'll send them to you, you know? I've done it because I've worked 15, 16 hours and I've achieved this, right?
Yeah. And the other thing I'd say, you mentioned about spirituality just beforehand. Do you find fitness being fairly spiritual for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think discipline, right? Like having discipline to be like, I'm going to do this. I want to set this goal and I want to achieve it. It's the same way I've approached spirituality. I set a goal, like maybe at the beginning of the year of like, hey, I want to do this. Or hey, in 2 years' time, I want to have this yoga pose down. I want to increase this, right? Like, so I think in the same way with fitness, having like short-term goals, right? Especially like when you're in the second half of the program, after you go through a photo shoot, right? Now your journey becomes like, how do we maintain what we've achieved, right? Together. And like, how do I like essentially bulk or get a different physique from where I'm at and elevate to the next level? For me, it was like, I think we sat down on one of our one of our check-ins, and it was like, Hemali, let's set some goals for some of the exercises we have. What numeric goals do you want to hit? And because I'm type A, that really worked well for me to be like, all right, I'm hitting 50 pounds on this. Let's get to like 150 by this time frame, right? And it's the same thing like with my pull-ups, because obviously that's something I really enjoy and that's something I post. It was like, I want to be elite. Can I get to like 30 one day, you know? But like, can I get to at least 12 to 13 before my shoot? I was able to achieve that because it was something I repetitively told myself. And so I think that's why I talk a lot about kind of transitioning into mindset. If you want to be something, you have to like think that in your mind that I'm going to get there. The more you tell yourself that, you're going to get there because that's the only thing you're feeding yourself. So.
And also, you also had like, obviously, like you traveled a fair bit. And I say fair bit, it was more so like, obviously, you went to your guru a couple of weeks. And there was times where that's very different. I mean, you can describe it to the people, but you couldn't do much. But there was still a lot of things you had in your control. You did well in them. Do you want to describe those kind of trips, what it means to you? But also from a fitness perspective, how did you manage them as well?
Yeah, sure. I did 7 weeks of PTO last year in 2023, and I started with you guys in April. So context of like taking 7 weeks off during my training. When I go to my guru, it's typically at least a week or 10 days when I was going. Most of the time we're traveling, we're at an Airbnb. So there's no like weights. There's no like, hey, go to the gym. I don't have a car that I'm renting because we're in a group of people in these environments. So when I did train, I did some circuit training. You were like, hey, can you take anything with you? I'm like, no, I can't take any equipment. We got to do what we got to do. And honestly, it was like quick 30-minute circuit workouts that we did. And if I couldn't get all 3 workouts in, if I could only get 2, I wasn't really stressed about it, to be honest, because I focused on being in nature. And naturally, I think people who are in this program realize when you travel, you're walking more. Your step count just kind of goes up. You're happier because you're enjoying yourself. And so for me, I think I maximize on what can I control? I can walk. Maybe I don't have time for a workout. I don't have the weights, but I can walk with people. I can pray and walk because that's something I can join in with other people without also segregating myself from what the community that I'm with at that time is doing. And then also, I think when I didn't have control of food, because typically at these events, there's an auntie cooking Indian food, right?
Yeah.
There's ice cream. My guru is very different from a lot of other gurus. The prasad, or like what we get as, once we pray, is chocolate a lot of times. I remember I would be like, you would ask me like, how much candy do you really have left, And I'd be like, I have this really big Ziploc bag. Don't worry, I'm going to pace myself, And I think that's when I go back to like mindset, being mindful, understanding this, like you made me confident. Like the first trip wasn't like that. Like I can be honest, right? Like I went into that first trip like, Kanal, I don't know what they're going to cook. I don't know what's going to be my plate. I remember sending you a picture of like my food and you're like, what is this? I can't even tell what this is, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, this is beans, this is lettuce, this is, I think I'm getting fiber. Like, what do you think? And that's what I mean by accountability. Like we have a 24-hour chat in our app, right? Like I'm not saying your coach is going to respond at 2 a.m. They need to sleep. They're good role models for me. But like, it was like knowing that I could just message you and know that like the next morning you were going to like message me and like help me out, right? Like I was never alone. And across the pond, like you're thousands of miles away, but like I don't think if I had a trainer in person, I would feel that close, like how I feel. Like in the moment that I met you, I was like, dude, I feel like I've known Kunal since like, are we childhood friends,
How important was that to you to have that coach in your corner, the accountability of the weekly check-ins, the workout uploads, the chat function, and having like a plan in place? How much did that kind of help you throughout your journey?
But also like public accountability. You used to post a lot, so right? Well, you still do. Like that, because sometimes it can create pressure. So, but I think you obviously thrive off that. So like it's a good kind of transition of that.
Yeah. So I mean, initially in the program, I was like, I'm gonna post this for accountability for myself. If I start posting and I post it every day, I won't stop, right? People are watching. And so I think it was like the little bit of pressure for me was like, okay, I got to keep at this, right? And to be honest, like it did help me thrive, right? Because people were like, I felt this, or like, dude, you said this today and I didn't feel like working out and I saw that you did a poll, are you working out today? And they're like, I freaking went to go work out now because like you posted this. And it was like, dude, get it. And then posting like my signature pose. People started sending me pictures on DMs of their pose, and I'm like, wow, like I could see their definition coming through. So I felt like despite the miles again, it was like, oh, wow, like this is my best friend in the journey and she's in the program, or this is like my cousin or my bubby, like people that even though I've known them my entire life, I wasn't like calling some of my bubbies every day. Now I'm closer to them because we have this connection because of KMAK Fitness. And that's why I'm so grateful, right? Like sharing that didn't create pressure. It actually created personal connection. So it wasn't pressure, that personal connection. And it's like, of course I'm going to thrive on that because it's like, dude, not only am I going through this journey myself, but I'm seeing others along the way go through that journey and we're getting to share this, right? we're all gonna have days where we don't feel like working out. Even myself included, right? Like where I always post and stuff. There were plenty of days where I'm like, God, I'm so tired from working 15 hours. But like, can I get this workout in? Or I'm like, hey, Kunal, I didn't work out today, but tomorrow I'm gonna get it in, right? Like it wasn't like you scheduled it on Monday and I always worked out Monday. There was times I got it in on Tuesday because I needed to like listen to my body to be like, look, I just worked this many days in a row and this much. This is better for me. I'm gonna be able to perform better if I work out the next day. But it's okay. You know, and giving myself that grace. And I think that's my number one advice. It's like, if one day passes, that's cool. But the next day, let's go. Like, let's get back to it, you know?
Obviously, you mentioned about, like, I guess, accountability and the element of posting. Do you find that, I think you've kind of become that leader within the community because of that constant, because people then follow it, then they see what's going on. What would you say to someone right now who is maybe not intimidated by that, but like sometimes it can be because they're like, I don't want to post, and we see that a lot of times, right? Hey, I never want to share nothing, but then what they tend to do is then like 6 weeks before a shoot, they want to post everything and anything in that. So what would you say to someone right now, because you did it from like day one technically?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be way more powerful if you do it from day one, because not only are you gonna see yourself in that journey, like from where you started, it's gonna be something you can look back at, like really be like, wow, this is who I was. But also everyone around you is gonna be like, she didn't just get here in a short period of time. What did she really go through? What was challenging about it? What was like easy about it? Because there are certain things that I feel are easy, and like we complicate them before, right? Like walking, for example. I was someone that was walking like, this is embarrassing, but like 2,000 to 3,000 steps. I was literally at my desk and then watching and binge watching Netflix. Got into the program, first week I was like, I'm gonna be your number one client, Kunal, I'm gonna be your best client, which I'm not, guys. But like, I literally was like, dude, I'm gonna hit 10K steps. And like, even those days that I didn't, I was like, I remember I was like, Kunal, can I just do 8K steps? Is that okay? And you're like, no, do your 10K steps.
Well, yeah, you said the week before, I'm going to be the best client. I was like, I'm going to get it done.
And then, so it's like, you know, I share these things because I'm totally like, I wanted to be the best client. And I wanted to be like, oh, I'm going to hit everything perfect. But realistically, no one in this journey, I assure you, I've talked to a ton of people in this program. No one's perfect. And I can tell you, I'm probably one of the person that's made the most mistakes. Like I didn't calculate my protein correctly for a little bit. And I was like, no, I did this. I think I did this wrong. Even though my physique was still changing, like I was able to admit everything to you because you made me feel comfortable. And the accountability came from like, I got emails from you like, hey, it's your day to work out. Cool. Like, it's like an incentive, like to be like, oh man, like I got an email from my coach too, right? And then having the 24-hour chats, like I can send you pictures of like, you know, I even sent you pictures of like, dude, I want to wear this for my shoot. Is this okay? And I think like beginning, like I don't think I was that open. Like I was kind of like, oh my God, he's my coach. I don't know if I could share this even with them. But you've made me feel so comfortable to the point where I'm like, yo, I'm gonna wear this color. What do you think? Like, what about this style? Like, it's like, there's no filter almost, which I hope you're okay with.
It's good with outfits and stuff.
Yeah, I love the outfits.
So
We're
like,
very good at outfits.
okay, like, you're not just my coach, but like, you're my designer, you know? Like, maybe that's like another feature, or maybe
Shout
like
out
you need
Tom
to
Ford,
add the KMAK, you know, fashion design industry here. But like, you know, I think all of that, like, it's so hard to put everything into words because I feel like this overwhelming like love and joy for you guys, that part of like the love that I share and that people see and they say that they feel as well is because you guys have never for a day made me feel like you haven't known me, you know? And that's rare to find. And I think going now, like, you know, a couple of days after the shoot, but really like a week and a half or so now since all the community events, every single person that's seen my stories or talked to me or people who attended were like, I wish I came to more of the events. I wish I could have made it. Like, I am like FOMOing, you know? And they're like, we're going to come out to the next event. Like, let us know where KMAK's going to be next year, you know? Like, and I think that's so beautiful. Like, I think you're going to have a problem trying to find venues in the next 1 to 2 years, to be honest, because like, that's how much this community is growing. And that's how much love, like, I can't say that I've met like 100 to 200 Indians in one room. And I can say hands down, every single person is down to earth, easy to talk to, and just like wants to get to know you genuinely or help you out. Like, hey, you're not working right now, which I quit my job recently. People are like, yo, you need a job? Let me connect you to XYZ. like, I want to help you out.
So
I want to be the person.
Good plug as well for the
Yeah.
podcast listeners. Hemali might need a job.
No, it's actually true though. Like people, I've connected people to be like, hey, I know you have a job. Speak to this person, speak to that person, and they've done something, and then they're like, dude, thank you for all of that. So, yeah,
Definitely. You told me like 10 times, I think, in the program, like, hey, when you're ready to quit your job, if you want to do this, I have someone to help you, like just say the word. Like, definitely. So
it's powerful. I mean, in terms of like going back into resistance training as well, a lot of South Asian women are sometimes skeptical about that as well. Any tips right now for those guys specifically? Because they're like, especially when I say South Asian women, because obviously it's historically we've never trained. And I say we, I'm not South Asian women, but like even guys who haven't really trained. And it's very new. And then there's also the stigmas of like being at home and they're like, why are you doing this? Why are you in the gym, etc. That is something that I think, you've kind of really like, bat through and you're like, I'm just going to do this. But any tips for someone right now who may be in that position as well?
yeah, so I can say you can find the most friendly people at the gym.
Yeah.
Because when I didn't know how to do stuff, like I looked for like the most jacked like person in the gym and be like, how did you achieve this? I don't know how to do this. My form is off. I have an online coach. He's gonna look at my videos, but like, how did you do this? How do I fix this? Like RDLs, like I was always like in the beginning, like, Kunal, I don't know, man. You're like, put your butt out, then bend your knees. Like, don't let your knees bend. And I remember I was like struggling. The guy's like, muscle memory, just like, you got this. Like, and I remember listening to your voice. Like, whenever you cued me on something, like on a check-in, I was like, Kunal told me to do this. Let me try this. Don't overthink this. Just like listen to what he said and let your body do that. For women, I would say like, if you're totally someone that's like, I don't want to go into the gym on day one, look, we help tons of women work out at home and get into incredible physique. We trained people when pandemic happened and they achieved like a 6-pack. If that's your goal, like we can get you there even if you start off at home. I've talked to tons of people in the community who started off at home and they're like, hey, Hemali, is it okay if I tell my coach I want to work out in the gym now? I'm like, yeah. Like, they're like, I'm just 4 weeks in. I want to change it up already and I want to go to the gym. I'm like, your coach is going to be ecstatic to help you. Like, go tell your coach, right? And I think that's what it is. Sometimes it's just, we're not confident in ourselves, but like, this is why you have a coach. This is like your biggest cheerleader. This is the person who's going to feel like family to you. And like, it's okay if you're like someone that picks up 5 pounds in the beginning. Like, there's videos to help you in our app. There's a coach. When you make mistakes, it's not like, Kunal, you were ever like, hey, Hemali, you suck at this, right? You were like, Hemali, you're going to get this. Like, let's do this. Let's try this out. Does this work? Like, and we never changed like an exercise just because I didn't get it.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that. It was like, dude, let's work to get to you like learning this, right? And I think being someone that trained before, I can tell you, like, I've worked out at like apartment gyms, but like, I never did like deadlifts even in an apartment gym, right? A lot of the exercises that you assigned to me, I was doing for the first time in the gym, and I told myself like, I'm Indian, guys, so I've done those free like 3-day trials at different gyms, check them out, done all that stuff, right? But for the first time, I was like, okay, I'm investing like this much into myself. Like, this is an investment for me. I want to get into this physique. I want this to be my lifestyle. This is who I want to be. Like, I'm going to invest in getting a gym membership. I'm going to do it right. And I'm not saying like working out at home is not doing it right, because depending on your situation, like if you just had a newborn and you're like 3 months postpartum, maybe you're just getting your routine down. Like, dude, working out at home, this is going to like elevate like your you time and really like give you the comfort you need, right? To be like, all right, I'm getting back to like getting the body that I want pre-baby, right? But you could also be like, hey, I need like time away from home to like have that mental space to just like be away and like somewhat not think about it. So that can also be really good for you, right? So it's really knowing yourself. But I assure you, regardless of choosing the gym or home, you're going to find confidence in it because you not only have a coach, you have a community. Any single person you message in this community is more than happy to help. I've gone on a ton of walks this week with a lot of clients that I've talked to online over the last year. And the one thing that they've told me is like, I feel like I know you, right? And I thought that was very powerful, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I've known you because we've like exchanged messages, we've exchanged voice notes, and like seeing you do this, I believe I could do a pull-up. Oh, I believe. And I was like, dude, the moment I talked to you, I knew you could do it, right? It's not because of me. It was like, I could see who you are and the discipline you've had through the last 6 months, the 12 months, 3 months. Like, we have clients who have been in our program for 3.5 months doing shoots at this shoot. Like, it's incredible to see these people like just come in and like trust the process. We talk about this coach, like talk about this quote a lot, you know, trust your coach, trust the process. And I go through that because it's like, even in my own journey, the moments that I've doubted you, Kunal, like in terms of like, okay, this guy, I got on the console, George is telling me I could work out 3 times when I was someone that worked out 5 times a week or 6 times a week. This guy's gonna tell me I'm gonna get a 6-pack in this amount of time. I don't know. Literally, I told myself in the first month, if these guys don't like start changing my physique, if I don't see changes, like I'm out, But you guys prove that, like you proved me wrong. And time again, because like we're all like that, right? We're a little bit stubborn. We think we know it all because we've done Orange Theory. Oh, we've done XYZ program and we're like, oh, I got those little results. We think we know. But why do we hire the expert in the first place, right? Why do we go to a doctor? Why do we have an accountant? Why do we have these things, right? Because someone is really good at their job and they excel and they can make it efficient for us. It's the same thing in coaching. This is why I actually believe online coaching like is the way to go in this day and age. Like, you have efficiency in your time, your schedule, and you have someone that's done this for like thousands of clients. They can only be successful, and you guys are only successful is because you're doing it right. There's no way you're getting clients that's like more than 95% of your clients are like referral based. We don't even do outside marketing here at KMAK Fitness, like rarely. Because why? We have clients of like every profession, every age group, in this, different countries, getting these results. None of us have the same diet. None of them have the same like 9 to 5. Some people have 7 to 10. Like, people have everything that's different, but we're doing it because there's one thing in common. All the coaches here are trained to do what they're doing. Everything is based on science. You can't like beat science. You can only like accept it and do it and see the results.
Yeah, it's quite powerful what you said about science because, you like I said, you can't beat it. What would you say, like, in terms of, I know you said online coaching now is the way, but did you have any preconceived notions of like, man, they're like from England, you spoke to George, he's like, yeah, we're going to get abs. And, what was your kind of thought pattern behind online coaching before?
Yeah. First of all, I wasn't expecting like a white guy like to come on the call. I was like,
Here we go.
I was going to be like Indian coaches. Indian people only know my diet. But it was totally like, okay, as I got to know like George, the rest of the guys and like girls, it was like, dude, they know more about Indians. Like, they're like, oh yeah, we know what a sari is. Oh, we know what like magni dar is. Like, I'm like, dude, we have all of this in our like, available for our clients to know what the macro count is for like tuer ni dar, magni dar, like all these things, right? So when I got on the call, to be honest, one of the main questions I told George was like, hey, what makes you guys different as an online trainer than me getting someone in Dallas and getting a person to tell me this, and just be there to train with me? And I think it was so powerful because it was like, he built my trust on the call. He showed me exactly what you guys offer, from like nutrition to understanding like, okay, this is how we do things in the app. Like, these are the resources. We have a community. Like, and I think the most powerful thing that I've mentioned also is like, you have every array of client. I don't think I've seen that. Like, I'm in sales. And now I work for you in sales, but like, I looked at every client that has like Indian clients, because you shop around as an Indian, right? It's the thing. You're like, who's the cheapest, but who's the best? What's most efficient? You guys were among the lowest pricing. And literally I was like, these people are getting results for like every type of client. Like, you could be a wedding planner traveling every weekend. You could have like a multimillionaire like CEO, which I know they're busy. Even though they got people doing things for them, they got to respond when things like are going down, right? Like, it's not. So I think having that knowledge of being like, okay, you have people who are doing a weight loss journey. You also have people who are trying to get bigger, like myself, right? That like diversity is what really attracted me. I was like, dude, these guys know what they're doing, right? And the fact that they can do it from miles away, to be like, hey, sending a video. Like, I looked forward to your videos. I would replay your videos like 3-4 times. I was like, this is gonna be embarrassing if someone's like next to me. They're gonna be like, why is she listening to that guy like 5 times, And it was just like that motivation I got from your calls, or like I'm super into sports. So like, you'd be like, oh, MJ said this, Kobe said this. Like, I'm like, man, that's like so relatable for me. And it's just like, I rolled with it. It's like, okay, like, this is what I need to do. If I ever was like, hey, I didn't feel motivated to walk, you're like, motivation? Like, and this is my personality with you, so obviously like I tell people to take this with a grain of salt. I like need tough love, and you gave me that, you know? It was like, Hemali, it's not about motivation, it's like getting it done. Do you want to do it or not, you know? And it was like, that's exactly what I needed from a coach, and you were that for me. Like if someone was soft with me, it wouldn't have flown, you know?
Obviously, you take a lot of the consults and you speak to a lot of the people in the community. I'm sure a lot of people do come to you and say, hey, I'm not feeling motivated right now. I'm not too sure what I should do here. What do you actually say to someone in that kind of situation? Yeah.
Yeah, when people tell me they're not motivated, I just tell them like, you're gonna gain a best friend. Like you're literally gonna end up pouring your heart out to this person. As crazy as it sounds, these people have become like my closest friends. Like I've known people for like 20, 30 years, and there's things I don't tell them that I've told like Kanal, you know? Or even you, like we've talked like every single day, George, you know? Like, and I'm like, hey, can you be my best friend more than like Kanal? Like, you know? And I can joke like that with you. Yeah, like, you know, I can joke like that because you guys bring that comfort, you bring that ease. And I think that's why it's so easy for me to go on a consult call and be like, I feel so energetic in this call for you. Even if someone doesn't have that same energy or vibration as me on a consult call, I'm like, look, it's something you just experience. When you take one step there, these people are going to run 1,000 steps for you. And in spirituality, there's a thing my guru told me, you know, if you take one step, or if you say like a mantra, if you say Om at the start of any mantra, God is going to come 1,000 times quicker. He's going to be standing for you and running towards you. And I feel the same way about my coach. It's like, if I say, Kanal, I'm struggling with this, I need help with this, I don't even have any doubt that he's going to be like, let me help you. Let me give you 5 ways that we can do this, right? There's like a way or an approach that's going to work for you. And I think that's where the confidence is. Like when someone knows what they're doing, there's no doubt. And when someone proves it to you time and time again in the program, especially for someone like me that's stubborn, type A, if someone can change someone like me, dude, there's so many nicer people than me that can like get through this. So
you obviously mentioned about like now trying to build muscle, and I know you said even like before we started, so you're like, I want to get big. A lot of people sometimes are scared of building muscle as well. Like, you know, obviously you're now going to be going through this process of it. Any advice, but how do you also feel about it? Because it's something that you've never kind of gone through. It's an unknown, you know, so you're walking through that. How do you feel about that process?
yeah, I mean, I think this is what I've told to every client, you know, because I think it's easy, like when you're going through the fat loss, the first half, everyone's like excited, right? Like most people are trying to lose 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 20 pounds, 40 pounds, right? Now you get into this most incredible shape. Now someone's going to tell you mentally, hey, you're going to eat more. The first instinct is like, am I going to get big? Am I going to go back to being like what I was, right? Like it's natural to feel that way. But I think when you've trusted someone for the duration that you have for your fat loss journey, that depth of your like connection with your coach, you just lean in on it. It's just so much easier to lean on it. But I will say, like, the weight goals that we're gonna get to, I know in the next like year, 2 years, 3 years, they're gonna be different than I've ever experienced. So I'm not gonna lie, there's probably gonna be moments that I'm gonna be like, no, this is different. I've never seen my body look this way, right? Because I think it's a natural human thing. But I also think like there's gonna be a point where I'm like, I can't wait till we do the cut again and we do my second shoot. Even if it's 2 years from now or 3 years, I have that patience because I know we've done it in a short period of time and we've been able to do it. So for me, it's like the end goal, like in fitness, I think I listened to a podcast of yours that said like, the one thing you like about going to the gym is like, there's always something to learn and something to prove upon, or like you could set a new goal. And I remember when I listened to you saying that on a podcast, it was like, it's something that I keep telling myself is like, there's always going to be another goal. Even when you achieve a physique, you're like, can I get like better biceps? Can I get bigger quads? Can I get more definition here? You're always going to want more, but I think it's a good want more, right? It's like you see yourself like to go to these new levels that you didn't think you were even going to set for yourself. So anyone that's like even scared about like how they're going to look, it's like, how did you get here? You know, look back at your day one. You're never going to be your day one again because you've built that confidence. You know what to do. You've learned it. Like if today you were like, Hemali, there's no more KMAK Fitness, I would be sad, not going to lie. But the thing is, I'm 100% confident that I can keep this physique or even grow this physique. You've taught me how to do that. You've told me like, hey, multiply this, do this. This is the formula to do this. Like literally, right? And that's like powerful to me, right? Like I'm empowered by the knowledge you've given me. This was not like just like, hey, my coach told me this is what you do, and then you go do it, right? It was like, oh, okay, this is how you calculated my numbers. This is what you did. And of course I asked those questions, right? I've learned more is because I've asked more. So I think one piece of advice I would say is like, people would get scared. They're like, oh, I don't know what my coach is gonna say. Or like, oh, I ate an extra piece of chocolate, or I did this. I'm like, dude, I was so open with my coach. I was like, I got my period and I freaking craved chocolate. I ate it today, Kanal. You know, and it was like, those are the kinds of things where I'm like, I never felt like I can't be myself. You made me feel that comfort. And I think most clients that I talk to now, they're like, dude, I tell my coach this. I sent a bikini picture to my coach. Like, I'm wearing a bikini after like, 2 kids, etc. Like, you see this. And this is where I'm like, just be open, The more open, the more you dive into like talking to your coach, the more you're going to get out of this. And you're going to see it's just going to get you really, really far.
How important do you think it is to be open? Because obviously people like fear that initially because of maybe fear of judgment, maybe from us guys or just in general, right? Like you perceive coaches as like, that guy is gonna shout at you or she's gonna shout at you. Obviously, it wasn't you. As time went on, you got better with that, right? So, what advice would you give someone right now? Just do it or slowly ease into it?
I think like just get it over with and do it, because like eventually you're gonna get there. It makes like it less awkward from the beginning. It's like my first check-in when I told you I fell asleep with my freaking pasta like on the floor, or even like me trying to drink 3 liters of water. I remember I was like, Kanal, I'm waking up like 4 times at night trying to drink water, like go to the bathroom because I drink so much water. And I was someone that drank like 1 to 2 glasses of water pre-KMAK. I was so bad about drinking water. Like I could tell you that I had to go to the bathroom 4 times, and I was like, YOLO, I'm just gonna tell him because this is who I am. If I'm paying for this service, I'm gonna utilize everything about it. Like, let me talk to him and tell him, what is he gonna tell me? He's gonna have to do his job. I paid him, And I think that really helped me because you were like, Hemali, like you can drink your water and end drinking it by like 7 or 7:30 based on when you're sleeping. Like you were able to give me live feedback based on who I am, when I sleep, what I do. And like we can build upon. You don't need to like directly get to something right away because you're changing who you've been for like X amount of years. And I don't expect you, Hemali, to be like Hemali 2.0 tomorrow, right?
Makes sense.
So making it manageable and realistic.
Yeah, I get that. Obviously, just to wrap up, let's say someone is fast forward this, next year, where maybe in March, there's obviously 2025 coming through, people coming to Jersey, they want to do a photo shoot, but they're kind of apprehensive, they don't know whether they want to do it, they don't know if they're going to be good enough and so on. What advice would you give them, because obviously you now have done it and you know what it's like?
So, in all honesty, Kanal, you asked me like so many times to do the photo shoot. Like, I think starting December, maybe December of last year or maybe before that. And I just kept telling you no. Like, and you're like, Hemali, like, I don't BS. I tell clients when they're not ready. And when they're ready, I tell them. And I still remember saying no a couple of times before saying yes.
You called me, right? I remember you called me at one point.
Yeah, and so this is like where I'm like, okay, guys, I talk all this talk about trust your coach, trust the process. But there was like a couple of times where, when I doubted you, like in terms of like, hey, I don't know if I should tell this to Kanal. I don't want to disappoint him. He's my coach. And obviously I feel super close to you, George. And I like was like, hey, are you free? I'm going to call you. I'm like actually going to call you. I don't want to like voice note this. And I was like, don't tell Kanal yet because
Sorry.
Okay,
I was like, please don't tell him because I care about both of you guys. And I remember just being like, George, this is what he wants me to do. Do you think this is right? Like for someone my frame, do you think I'll get to this physique? Like, not that I was like, oh, I'm not in a good physique, but like still, you still think like you could do more. And I think it's like, what I realized is like, I'm really good. I'm like really happy about my pictures now post shoot, right? Like seeing it, I was like, the lighting I had at home or the gym, all of the things you told me, Kanal, I hate to admit, but you're always right. And it's like, literally, I saw some of the pictures off of like Shivani's camera and I was like, wow, is that really me? Like, who's that girl? Like, And it was like, oh, do I do a tan? And you're like, yeah, do a tan. It's going to look great. I've never done a tan before. And I'm like, I'm so glad I did the tan. The Golden Girls did like amazing, And so it's, I can't put into words like, except really like embrace this journey, like trust your coach, trust this process. Your entire life's going to change. The people around you, whether it's like the people you've had in your life, your whole entire life, or this new community you get, like, you're gonna feel like a changed person. Like, you're never gonna be the same again once you become a KMAK athlete. And I think the photo shoot is just one part. It commemorates like the journey that you've done, this journey and this relationship you've built with the coach, the team, the community. And it's like this thing of where like you feel elite. There's a group of like 100 people, 1,000 people. It's gonna grow every year, but it's gonna be this shared thing that I can't wait for like KMAK to be like, it is already a legacy. Like, you're still alive and all this stuff, but it's literally a legacy right now. People want to come to you guys. People are gonna go home and be like, I miss this energy. I wanna be around these people. Like, I cried in front of my coach. I hugged my coach. Like, I danced with my coach. Like, whatever is like I went on this hike. I want to do all of this and I wanna come back. Whether I'm not gonna do a shoot for 2 years, I wanna come to every event when you guys come to America. I don't wanna miss the opportunity of not spending time with you guys. And I think that's what's powerful. Like, we're a family and we always will be. No matter if like you're my trainer or not, like, that's how powerful this journey is. Like, you'll always be a part of me.
Amazing. Where can people find you? Obviously, you're quite active on Instagram, so you want to plug up the IG?
Yeah, so if you don't already follow me, it's Hanging with Hemali. If you're ever in Dallas, my home is your home. If you ever want to work out together, if you guys want to walk together, if you just want like someone to motivate you, I'm always open for a DM or to connect you with someone who's similar to you. And I 100% recommend whenever these guys are in the States, like, shower them with love. They give so much to us, and what they do all year for us, like, we're only able to give them in like a week or two. And I don't think that'll ever be enough to give back to them. So give them love in your check-ins. Take the time to just say thank you and like do it every time. Like, do it every week until they get sick of it because they deserve it.
What's the IG? There you go.
Hanging with Hemali.
Hanging with Hemali.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. Apart from that, guys, really appreciate it. Thank you, Hemali, for being on the pod.
Yeah.
See you next one, guys.
And big hugs.
Peace.
Because I'm a hugger.
Well done, smashed it.